special extended weather update here, streaming on the 11 Alive app on your TV and on your phone, as well as on YouTube. We're doing this on Facebook Live as well. And we want to make sure that people know what's going on as we're tracking more bands of rain that are moving through our area right now. As of right now, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, but there are a couple of cells that are just below severe limits. And the main threats we're dealing with: heavy rain, thunder and lightning. So far, we've been seeing some winds with some of these storms between 40 and 50 miles an hour. Again, that would be just below what we would classify as severe storms. And then also, we've been watching this one up in Bartow County that's been exhibiting some signs of rotation, not tight enough rotation to issue a tornado warning, to have an actual tornado there with it, but it's just something that we're going to be watching. And that's why we wanted to go live here with you, at least for the next 30 minutes, because these showers and storms moving right through the heart of the city. Also, really heavy rain over on the east side out I-20 with thunder and lightning in association with those two. And on top of that, we've got a ground stop at Hartsfield Jackson right now. They put that into effect about an hour ago as we were watching these storms as they were pushing in from the south, and now they're moving through the city. They are beginning to show some signs of weakening now, not quite as intense as they were. In fact, as we zoom in a little bit tighter, you can see that heavier rain, not as much red and orange here with that. You know, there was pretty intense here on the south side a little bit earlier. That's where we were seeing some of those 40 and 50 mile an hour winds. But as this has been moving through the city, some of the red has kind of gone away a little bit, but we still have this to the east side with that heavy rain. It's now generally north of I-20 where we have that heavier rain. It was on the south side earlier. Now it has moved north of I-20 into areas, still into parts of DeKalb County, South Gwinnett, right there in northern Rockdale, also into Newton County, pushing into southern Walton County, and then really heavy rain and a lot of lightning back into Putnam County over near Eatonton. And of course, that's near Lake Oconee. We're on Memorial Day. Hopefully folks are off the lake there with that rain and thunderstorm activity moving in. Now here you can see, watch this right here, all of that red and orange that was on the south side earlier, pushing northward through the city. And then watch as it hit the city, how still we have some red and orange with it, but just not as much. And that red and orange is the indicator of the really heavy rain that continues to move on through. I just want to make sure we don't have any new statements here from the National Weather Service, just to make sure we don't have anything new coming in there right now. But again, watching this rain and that thunderstorm activity as it continues to move up toward the north. I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter here to the city of Atlanta. Now we've got the heavy rain over the city. Now that heaviest part is just north of I-20 on that north side of the downtown connector, and then going up 85 north towards Spaghetti Junction. We are located, our TV station is located about right here, just north of the downtown connector here, just in the northern part of Midtown. We have really heavy rain coming down on the roof of our station at this time, and we're going to see more of that rain from the south side. It's just going to be a little bit lighter, and then it will let up later on into the evening hours here. So get ready there at Spaghetti Junction on the northern parts of DeKalb County. Also, this rain that's in central DeKalb is moving into Gwinnett. That'll be heavy with thunder and lightning. And of course, we showed you that coming into Walton County. There on the Walton and Rockdale and Newton County line, this bit of heavy rain on the north side of the perimeter. Right now, the heaviest of the rain and where we have the most intense lightning is out I-20 into parts of Morgan County, also into Greene County and Putnam County. And then again, Lake Oconee is right here. So the lake on this Memorial Day is getting some heavy rain there, as well as watching all of that lightning. And let me do a lightning count just on that part there in Morgan County into those areas of Walton County. I'll start this here around Monroe, go down toward Eatonton, and this take this over just a little bit past Greensboro and Crawfordville. So we have about 127 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. Most of that is centered right around here in the middle of Morgan County, where we see that heaviest rain and thunder and lightning. It also goes into the southern parts of Oconee County, northern parts of Greene County, where we have that lightning too. And then just additional sporadic lightning strikes, as you can see back here into Walton County. Also a few more of those in DeKalb County, Rockdale, and into Newton County. And then of course some of those getting back over into Greene County and closer to Oglethorpe County. Heavy rain up toward Enterprise too. So really heavy rain is coming down there. Now that is one of the problems that we have, because the ground is very saturated, and we have that flood watch that was going to expire tonight, but it is going to now remain in effect until tomorrow evening because any of this heavy rain can cause any ponding or flooding on the roadways. Now, on the north side, we're still seeing some scattered showers here. I want to take you into this cell right here because this is one that's been really interesting to watch. Back into Bartow County, along 75 there, near Cartersville, going up toward Pine Log. We've been keeping an eye on this because we have been seeing a little bit of broad rotation within this cell. And we've got about 27 lightning strikes with this in the past 15 minutes. I do think we're going to see that number coming down just a little bit. But you see this, we normally talk about when we show velocity where we would see rotation where you have the green and red kind of coming together there. But what we would look for to be anything that would be of a concern would be a really tight area of that red and green. But this is a broad rotation that we see just over 75. Let me look here because I want to see a statement that somebody just put in here from the National Weather Service. Let me see. Someone, a ham radio operator, is reporting that they drove through the cell as it crossed 75 north of Cartersville. Lots of heavy rain, but not much wind and no hail that they noticed. And that was about the same time that this potential rotation was moving through. So again, this is not necessarily a tornado, but there could be just a little bit of spin in the within those clouds just trying to come together, but it's very broad. So no tornado warning is being issued with this right now, but this is just something that has our attention and something that we're watching. We really don't think that this would develop into a tornado, but again, just want to let you guys know what's happening there, crossing over 75. So we'll watch that as it moves up toward the north and east here into these areas of Cherokee County too. Again, I don't want to overly concern people that we really don't think that a tornado is going to develop out of this, but just we want to let you know that there is some broad rotation there along 75 in those parts of Bartow County. And so there was a new scan that just came in right now. That even looks a little more ragged now as well. But just letting you know that this is something that we're keeping an eye on as that system moves up toward the north and also a little bit to the east. But the main activity here is moving over the city of Atlanta and pushing up toward the north. So North Fulton, you're getting some light rain right now. It's about to get heavier for you, also into North DeKalb, into Gwinnett County. Most of this action here is on the south side, and that's moving into central Gwinnett County. And then this really heavy rain back into areas of Morgan County. That's moving into Oconee County, and then eventually that will push into the Athens area as well. So I'm going to show you that tower cam out of Athens in just a few minutes too. But take a look here around the entire southeast, and we just have a saturated air mass with plenty of moisture around. We don't have a front or anything near us causing these showers. This is just a sharp flow out of the Gulf of Mexico that is bringing us all this moisture into our area. Mix that in with the heating of the day, and that just makes these showers and storms bubble up through those afternoon hours. This is a live look right now at Echo Park Speedway. On the south side, we had some really heavy rain earlier, and during our 5 o'clock newscast, we were showing this camera, and you couldn't even see the other side of the track there because the rain was coming down so hard, the visibility was reduced. Now, you can still see some raindrops, and of course, the track in the infield is wet right now, and you can see those raindrops that are coming down still, but not as heavy as it was earlier. So after the band of heavy rain comes through, it doesn't end immediately. We still deal with some light rain there back behind it. This is our tower cam in DeKalb County on the DeKalb and Fulton County line. This is on our broadcast tower. So this is way up on a tall tower here. And the clouds are kind of covering up our camera a little bit, reducing our visibility, as well as some of those raindrops that we're seeing there on the lens. And we can't even really, you can barely see right there, you can barely see part of the city skyline as we have that heavy rain that continues to move on through. So here is that flood watch that is in effect for roughly along I-85 and north and west of I-85, including a big part of North Georgia and also West Georgia. Now, As I mentioned earlier, this was supposed to expire tonight during the evening hours. But today, the National Weather Service extended that watch into tomorrow evening. Now, what I think is really interesting here is that the Weather Service did not include all of our area, because really all of us need to be aware of the potential for some flooding, but they're highlighting North and West Georgia because these are the areas that have been hit harder by some of that heavier rain, and flooding would be a little easier to happen there. But really anywhere, we need to be watching for that potential for any flooding that could move on through. Checking really quick here again, just to make sure I don't see any new statements coming in from the Weather Office. I'm also watching the incident reports from the Department of Transportation here, just to make sure that I'm not getting any evidence of any flooding or anything happening on the roads right now. We have some tree branches on the roadway in Rome up near Pinson Road in Floyd County. Okay, nothing new coming in from them too. Just kind of keeping an eye on that for you too. But plenty of things to watch out there for today. Now, the severe weather threat is mainly on the south side for tonight, through the evening hours tonight. That's just where the instability levels are just a little bit higher. We did have some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier near and south of Macon, pretty much along I-16 in Houston County, Pulaski County. We had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings earlier. As those have moved north of I-16, it's mainly just the heavy rain, but nothing really severe. No new severe warnings with that. But the Storm Prediction Center kind of painting the picture here south of I-20. Those are the areas that have that level 1 risk. Again, that's a low risk for any isolated severe storms to form. And in order for it to be severe, winds would have to be at 58 miles an hour or greater, or hail an inch in diameter or larger. So far, we haven't seen any of that with this moving in. So the forecast track here shows this pretty much lines up on this model here of where we are seeing that heavier rain. And we were talking just a moment ago about how that's moving from the south toward the north. I want to advance through this manually, very slowly, so you can see here as we go through the 7 o'clock hour to 7:30 to 8 o'clock here. Still dealing with some of those heavier showers on the north side, but they start to kind of fall apart just a little bit more. Let me check one thing real quick. I think we just got a new update here. Okay, no, we don't. Okay, so good. So that's good that we don't have any new statements in from the Weather Service. But again, let me walk you through this slowly, and you can see how that moves up toward the north. This is at 8:30, 9 o'clock. So through the evening, that's going to keep moving toward the north, and as it does, it weakens a little bit more, and will actually start drying out here for the evening hours, let's say between 8:30, 9 o'clock, or really between 8 and 9 o'clock here. It'll be cloudy, it'll be muggy, but at least we won't have the heavy rain coming down anymore here within the next hour or so. Then we get toward 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then overnight, just watching a few of these isolated showers around, and then getting to the 7 o'clock hour in the morning, we'll have cloudy skies. It's going to be a muggy start, maybe some mist and drizzle here within some of those clouds. The potential for a couple of spotty light showers there on the north side. And then once again, going toward and closer to the lunchtime hour, we'll see additional rain beginning to feed back in, scattered showers redeveloping around lunchtime, and then through the afternoon, still more of those hit and miss showers. And when we get to those afternoon hours, when our temperatures start coming up a little bit more, that's when we start seeing some of those heavier showers developing. So that's why the National Weather Service extended that flood watch into tomorrow evening, because any bands or any cells with heavy rain could and will add to that flood risk here in our area. And then getting into Wednesday morning, we will have cloudy skies to start the day. And then check this out, Wednesday afternoon, we're not taking away the rain chances, but the rain chances come down a little more scattered or less numerous showers will be with us on Wednesday as well as on Thursday. The rain chance is going to be coming down even a little bit more, and maybe even a little bit more of that sunshine trying to break through the area, but still about a 30% chance for showers going into your Thursday afternoon. All right, so I want to take you back here to radar so that we can kind of get a better look at some of these showers and storms that are moving through. And as we have been telling you, most of the heaviest rain has been concentrated over the city of Atlanta. As this moves northward, though, the red and orange color with that has been breaking up a little bit, so not as heavy as it was earlier when this was down on the south side. This had been moving along I-20 and south of I-20. Now this main area of heavy rain and thunder and lightning is now just north of I-20. So you've got this in North DeKalb County, that heavy rain there, also into southern Gwinnett. A lot of that heavy rain in Walton County around Social Circle up toward Monroe with that heavy rain. And you see how that's moving up toward the north here. Most of the lightning with this is into those areas here of Morgan County, pushing up in Walton County, moving up into areas of Oconee County, and that's getting closer to Clark County there too, with that heavy rain moving northward into and getting closer to Athens. And you see all this lightning that's really just kind of firing up here for Oconee County, southern Clark County, into Oglethorpe County, Greene County, getting in all that lightning, as well as Morgan County near Madison. That's where most of that lightning has been. That continues pushing up toward the north there with those heavier showers and storms. Now, things are starting to let up a little bit on the south side after the heavy rain has come through, but even when that heavy band pushes to the north, we still hold on to some lingering showers around the area too. Here's a look at Hartsfield-Jackson right there on the south end of the perimeter, right there on the Clayton and Fulton County line. We still have, you know what, let me look and see if I have an update here on that. They were going to potentially lift this ground stop. Stand by just a minute. FAA delays map. And let me see what the latest status is of that ground stop at Hartsfield-Jackson. We're going to take just a second for this to show up here on my screen. It has been extended through 7, the ground stop. So it is due to thunderstorms. Departures to Hartsfield-Jackson are grounded due to thunderstorms. The probability of extension is medium, 30 to 60%. It has already been extended from 6:30 when it was supposed to be ending. Now this has been extended to 7. And we'll wait and see if this is going to be extended any longer there for that ground stop. This is for some departures that are heading toward Hartsfield-Jackson in other cities. Our camera is locked up right now. We're not able to show it to you at this hour, but there could still be some movement there on the runways and taxiways of planes that are trying to take off. But some departures headed toward Hartsfield-Jackson are in that ground stop with all that now more moderate rain. So we do think that as this continues moving up toward the north, I'll put this back into motion here for you, we will see some drying out happening really within the next hour. Let's say between now and 7:15 to 7:30 is when we think we'll see the back edge of this lift to the north, and we should start to see some drying out there at Hartsfield-Jackson. And so we have that heavier rain. And in fact, I'm just going to kind of take you in. I'm going to put this back into live mode, and I'll kind of pull you along here, those pockets of that heaviest rain. While I'm here, I'm also going to check on our incident reports from the Department of Transportation. Let's see. Twiggs County has some trees down, some debris on the roadways in different spots here. Center lane blocked in Fulton County, just with the crash there. So I don't really, again, see any issues with water on the road, which is what we often see with these bands of heavy rain moving in that would close some lanes. We don't have any reports of that out there right now. But yeah, just watching these showers and storms move through. So this is, again, a look in northern parts of DeKalb County. This is at Doraville. Here is Spaghetti Junction right here. So on that northeast and north part of the perimeter, Chamblee-Dunwoody Road, over toward these areas near Spalding Drive, getting closer to Peachtree Corners. That's where we have some of this heavy rain that continues to move through the area. I'm going to step out of the shot really quick because I want to go show, get a camera ready for you that I want to show at Northside Hospital, because that's in that area, close to that area where some of that heaviest rain is going to be coming down. And I'll show you a couple of those cameras here. I'm going to get that ready for you here really quick so you'll be able to see that when I get to it at Northside Hospital with that heavy rain coming down there on the north side of the perimeter. And again, North DeKalb getting in on some of that heaviest rain as this continues moving up toward the north. Then as we come out a little bit more over toward Gwinnett County there near Lilburn, we have that heavy rain there. Near Lilburn over towards Snellville, all right? This is that band that goes through the southern parts of Gwinnett County here. Just move through Stone Mountain and the Mountain Park region. You get over towards Snellville and Loganville. Here's Loganville right over here that gets over into parts of the South Gwinnett and also into parts of Walton County. That's all moving toward the north. It's going to be pushing into Lawrenceville in just a bit. It's moving into Grayson right now and into Gloucester and over near Pleasant Hill there at 85. We'll go on over a little bit more and you can see where that band continues over from Loganville into between, which is getting closer to Monroe. Walker Park, getting closer to Campton, all right? So that's that leading edge of that band of heavier rain, and then getting over into, and I'll widen out a little bit so you can see, that's what we're talking about, Monroe and Walton County. Here's I-20 to the south. There's Social Circle. The heaviest rain just moved through Social Circle, pushing to the north. Along I-20 now, still some rain there, but just not as heavy. Madison, you've been getting rocked by heavy rain for a while. It's letting up now. It's more moderate rain, but that's what's moving toward Bostwick and the northern parts of Morgan County. You can see this in southern Oconee County, just south of Watkinsville into Elder. Very heavy rain there, and into the northwestern parts of Greene County here. Very heavy rain coming down there as well. And then over toward Greensboro. And again, we've been talking about Lake Oconee here with this being Memorial Day and the holiday weekend. Lake Oconee is right here along I-20 there at Greene County, Morgan County, and here toward Putnam County, north and west of Eatonton. So it's still covered up with plenty of rain, but at least the heaviest rain and the lightning has now moved generally north of I-20. So things are going to be improving over toward Lake Oconee. And then just look how this extends northward up through Oglethorpe County and into Elbert County there along the South Carolina line. Here's Athens, not seeing any rain in Athens yet, but looking to the south of that, clouds are really dark and there's a lot of thunder and lightning with that too. Another look on the north side right now, and you see how things are a little more spotty here right now. As we're watching scattered showers in North Georgia near Blairsville, moving up into Clay County, North Carolina, also Gilmer County, Fannin County, seeing some of that heavier showers activity at just kind of off and on. Also over into Raymond County, and then here, this is that cell that we were watching going through Bartow County that had a little bit of broad rotation with it. And again, as I was explaining this earlier, when we're talking about broad rotation, we don't have enough rotation for a tornado warning because no tornado has actually touched down or anything. But this was just one to watch as it's moving through the northern parts of Bartow County and into northern Cherokee County. I want to put this back to velocity mode right now, and you'll be able to see here. Again, we're watching just a little bit where you see the green and red coming together of just that broad rotation, but nothing really strong enough or tight enough for this to be classified as an actual tornado. So just maybe a little bit of a spin within some of those showers and within the clouds, but not developing a tornado. We do not have any new indications here from the National Weather Service. It's just that we're all keeping an eye on it right now. Let's see. Yeah, and then we have in Bartow County some street flooding in some areas there in Bartow County with that heavy rain that has come through these areas there, along with that broad rotation that we're just keeping an eye on in those areas of really northern parts of Bartow and into extreme northwestern parts of Cherokee County, and that's going to move into Pickens County here in just a bit. We don't think a tornado is going to develop out of that, but just something that we kind of keep an eye on here with these storms as they move through. Also additional showers here and some thunder and lightning that has been coming out of Alabama. This is center Alabama. Some of that's going to move into Floyd County in a bit. Also this rain, heavy rain right along the Georgia-Alabama line, Haralson County into Polk County just south of Cedartown. And as you put this into motion, you'll see that that is moving up toward the north as well. So as we widen back out and look at the entire area, things on the south side are actually improving a little bit. We still have this south of I-20 there in Carroll County, but as you can see from LaGrange over toward Thomaston, Pike, Lamar County, Coweta County, Clayton, Fayette County, things are starting to improve, and that's going to be the trend as all of this keeps moving up toward the north, that we'll see some improvements coming in from the south toward the north. But still, there over on the east side, you're not improving right now. You're just seeing that heavy rain that's coming through and getting closer to Athens and pushing up toward the Gainesville area, with all of that heavy rain and plenty of thunder and lightning in association with that as well. I want to take you to these tower cams. I put these up for you so we can get a good look at these. Okay, let's see. We also have a new update from the Weather Service. As I was just showing you this over on the west side, that the Weather Service is saying several weakly rotating cells along the Alabama-Georgia border west of Atlanta. None of them are too concerning at this time, but still bear watching with a little bit of shear that is in that area too. Hey guys, will y'all tell, I think I want to hang on a little bit longer. I know we said we're going to go to 7 o'clock. Can you tell the digital team, if y'all are listening in the digital team, I think I'm going to stay on a little bit longer, if that's okay. They're saying okay, and if y'all are okay in the control room for me to hang on a little bit longer, just to keep watching this moving up toward the north. I know we were going to go off at 7, but the whole point of us doing these extended weather updates as these storms move through, and the luxury of us being able to stream on the 11 Alive app on your phone or on your TV, is that we can stay on as long as we want to here. We don't have to worry about programming or any commercials or anything that we have to get on. We can stay on it. So I want to hang on a little bit longer just to watch these storms on the west side, even though they said they're exhibiting just some weak rotation. Now, nothing with that. Now, you see a lot of red and green there, but as a meteorologist, nothing with this looks concerning right now, but just some weak, broad areas of rotation just to keep an eye on and make sure that they don't get any more active there over on the west side. I want to take you to these tower cams, though. This is our tower cam indicator looking over toward the city. And you see the raindrops on the lens there over on the west side, or over there on the east side here, indicator looking westward toward Atlanta. And you can see the raindrops, cloudy skies. At least there's enough visibility, though, that we can see the Atlanta skyline. Also here, this is our tower cam at Northside Hospital. This is looking down toward the south, all right? What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna step out of the shot, and I'm actually gonna zoom this camera around a little bit. This is, again, at Northside Hospital looking toward the city of Atlanta. But I want to move this so we can look back toward the north where we see that heaviest rain. Again, that is continuing to move on through. So this will take just a second to kind of show up on your screen here as we show these showers continuing to move on toward the north and with some of that heavier rain. So again, this is on looking southward. I'm gonna rotate this camera around. You're gonna see that moving on your screen here in just a moment, and put it back to that more familiar area that we see here. Normally watching those showers and storms that are moving through along 285 and there, getting closer to the King and Queen building. You're going to see that coming up here in just a moment. So there is, again, the King and Queen building will widen out just a little bit more, but it's on the north side where we've been watching these showers a little more active there. And I'm going to go more to the north and east, looking towards Spaghetti Junction, where we can still see that heavier rain that is over to the north and also to the east. And I'll just kind of center this back up just a little bit here. But that's how interesting that looks right now with those heavier showers moving through. I will show you a couple of other screens while I'm right here. We're just going to kind of advance through some of these. The Athens camera is looking southward. I'm going to pop this up here for you so you can see this one. This is our Athens camera that is just showing up right here. Now look at that. That almost, yeah, I really feel like that looks like a good shelf cloud right here, as that's the line of storms that is coming in from the south. I was showing you on radar just a moment ago how we had that band of rain that is just south of Athens. This is moving in from the south, moving northward toward Athens. This is our camera in downtown Athens, looking over North Campus here and looking south. So this that you see there is a nice looking shelf cloud coming in as that rain is going to be pushing our way and pushing toward Athens from the south. So that's a really interesting look. We're seeing a little bit of scud cloud action there on the south, right on the base of this. You can see the rain shafts there as well. Every once in a while we could see some flashes of lightning. That's a really interesting look. This is going to be cool on a time lapse that we're going to see that heavy rain there too. The Weather Service is saying they're getting concerned about the heavy rain over Oglethorpe County, which is part of this system moving closer to Athens and really to the south and east of Athens. They are going to issue a flash flood warning there because of all the heavy rain that has been moving through. All right, I'm going to step back out. We're going to do a couple of other tower cam views here for you as those storms continue to push in from the south. I also wanted to show you, we looked at Decatur a few moments ago. Okay, so really the main ones we want to keep an eye on are Athens as well as Decatur. But this Athens one really looks interesting there. We'll come back and check out this Athens camera here in just a moment as that shelf gets closer and as that heavy rain is going to be bearing down here on the downtown area there of Athens. Now, if you're just joining us here, it is 7:01. We have been giving everyone, we've been doing an extended weather update here on 11 Alive, the 11 Alive app on your TV and on your phone, as we have been tracking these showers and storms that have been moving in from the south, bearing down on the city of Atlanta. Now that we're just after 7 o'clock, let me check on the FAA right now to see, oh wow, the ground, okay, so this is gone. So we had a ground stop at Hartsfield-Jackson here, and it was supposed to end at 6:30. They expanded it to 7 o'clock. Now, instead of a ground stop, it is a ground delay. And departures to Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta International are delayed an average of 48 minutes due to thunderstorms. So we do have delays out of Hartsfield-Jackson right now. It's going to take a while, that even though on the south side they're still seeing some light rain, it's not as heavy as it was. As this moves to the north, the conditions at Hartsfield will improve, but I doubt that those delays are going to be backed up a little bit longer. It's going to take a while for them to kind of catch everything up. But this is the main thing we're watching. All of this heavy rain moving northward, and as this moved in on the south side, it was very heavy just south of Atlanta. And as it moved through the city, it lightened up here just a little bit. Still moderate to heavy, but just not as heavy as it was. That keeps moving to the north. We have these bands of heavy rain through Gwinnett County into Walton County. And then this is what I was just showing you here. Okay, they just issued that flash flood warning there in Oglethorpe County for parts of Madison. Oh, wait. Let's see here. Let me see what they're saying. Hold on. Issues a flash flood warning for parts of Madison County and Oglethorpe County. All right, so I'm going to get in closer to that. In fact, as I get in closer right now, I want to show you again. This is that main heavy rain that is pushing through Gwinnett, northern parts of Walton County, moving into Barrow County. There you see Oconee County getting hit hard. All right, as we were looking from that Athens tower cam just a moment ago southward, this is what I was just showing you within that shelf cloud, that really heavy rain just south of Athens, and that's moving northward into the city. Now, let me take you here. I'm going to put this into live mode instead of the loop. This is what we're watching now with the flash flood warning that was just issued for these areas of Madison County and also Oglethorpe County. Now, Madison County is right here. So it's just a little bit of Madison County there near Comer. But Oglethorpe County right here, that includes Enterprise, most of Oglethorpe County is included in this flash flood warning. Now, we are seeing here Doppler radar indicating these thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Already between 2 and 4 inches of rain has fallen in Oglethorpe County, and another 1 to 3 inches are possible on top of that. And that is saying that the flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly in these areas because of that heavy rain. And that extends over into Elbert County. No warning there, but we still have that heavy rain also over into parts of Elbert County right along the South Carolina line. So let's show you here the rainfall estimates. Our Doppler radar can estimate how much rain has fallen, and this is in the past 24 hours. Let me get in just a little bit tighter, and we can do a query on this with our rain totals. So first there in Oglethorpe County, which is right here, in this orange color, orange to yellow color, that's where we see those highest amounts, indicating there west of Enterprise, Doppler radar estimating 4.5 inches of rain that has fallen there. Let me take you up here to closer to Comer. We'll do a query right here. And that is showing, again, Doppler radar estimates, not necessarily an actual measurement of the rain that has come down, but this is an estimate of 7 inches of rain possible there near and just to the east of Comer. And that is into those areas of Madison County, all right? Then as you extend up into Elbert County, let's do a rainfall estimate there, about 4.3 inches of rain. So plenty of rain has fallen there. We have to watch for the potential for flooding within those that heavy rainfall that continues moving up toward the north. And there you can see it. Again, we'll put this into motion. This is an hour-long loop. So at least this is moving. Really heavy rain. It's not parked on Oglethorpe and Madison County, but it's really heavy rain that's just moving generally slowly up toward the north. And of course, we have all the lightning there with it as well, moving up toward the north. So this is going to be moving, as we mentioned, about to move into Athens. Jackson County, get ready there along 85 in Jefferson and near Commerce. We already have some of this that is in Barrow County, heavy rain, not as heavy there as it is over in Oglethorpe County, but moving northward into Jackson County, also into areas of Banks County, and pushing on up more toward the north too. So a lot to watch here with this rain as it continues to move up toward the north and east. Let's go back here to these areas north of the city. I'm going to put this back into live mode, and let's go back to velocity, because we were watching a couple of spots there with a little bit of rotation. This does not, it never really looked that impressive, but this is just a little bit near ball ground into areas of Pickens County. Brief, maybe really broad rotation, nothing really too tight with that. That would be indicative of an actual tornado developing, but I just wanted to kind of check back in there with that as we were watching some brief rotation with that a little bit earlier. In fact, I'll take this backwards and you can see, really this was the area more interesting to watch. Let me pull this over here just a little bit. So this was really the area that was looking more interesting right there near Cartersville as it was crossing over 75. That was at 6:30. See how that moves up into Cherokee County, and you see how it kind of falls apart there? So no concerns anymore about that rotation there. I do want to take you back over to West Georgia, because the National Weather Service was highlighting just a few moments ago that we had several weekly rotating cells near the Georgia-Alabama line into parts of West Georgia. I'm not seeing anything concerning out of this either. But again, it's always something that we have to watch. Whenever we get any little bits of rotation, we do have to just kind of keep an eye on that there, just to make sure that nothing else really develops out of it. And we just don't really think that we will see within this and the way that our environment is right now, that we'll see anything really tightening up anymore here with those cells over on the west side. We'll go back to reflectivity. And we do have heavy rain, and we're not seeing as much lightning with this there right now either as we did earlier. But speaking of lightning, let me take you back over to this and query this whole area, really from North Fulton toward Elberton and down toward Washington. About 45 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. So the lightning count with this has come down from more than 100 lightning strikes that we had earlier, now to 45. That's a good sign that we're seeing the strength of the system coming down just a little bit, not as much lightning with it as it continues moving up toward the north here. The main threat, heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. And then, of course, with that heavy rain, that's where we have that flash flood warning that is in effect for those areas of Oglethorpe County and into southern Madison County right here, just in that southeastern part of Madison County. This is the county line right there. You see that? So it goes from Oglethorpe here to Madison right there. And then Elbert County is not included, even though Elberton's getting some good heavy rain coming down there right now as this all continues to lift up toward the north. Let's go back to rainfall totals. And really, that's the area where that rain has been the heaviest over to the east of us. These totals are for the past 24 hours. So we've seen some of that heavier rain that has been over on the north side earlier. A lot of this heavy rain was from yesterday that we're seeing some of those reds that are showing up there. But for right now, over toward Oglethorpe County and southern Madison County is where we see that heaviest rain. And again, our Doppler radar estimates there, we're showing some areas up to 7 inches estimated by Doppler radar. Let's go back to reflectivity. And that heavy rain continues moving northward. That's the main bit of it right there, pushing up toward the north. That's about to get closer to 985. We have still some moderate to heavy rain moving in over Lake Lanier and then over North Fulton, moderate rain pushing in, but seeing some breaks here on the south side, and that's what we think we're going to be able to enjoy here in just a little bit over the city of Atlanta as that heavier rain. I'm going to do a 2-hour loop right here right now and put this into motion. And this is how that was really heavy on the south side, moving northward, now more moderate rain here on the north side, but still watching for any ponding that could be happening out there on the roads. It doesn't take a lot of rain with our saturated ground to see a lot of runoff coming down, and sometimes that ends up collecting on some of the streets and roads there where we can see ponding on the roadway, some hydroplating that can happen. But most of the heaviest action right now is north and east of Atlanta, again, going through Gwinnett, Barrow County, Oconee County, Clark County, and then also that flood warning, that flash flood warning that's in effect in Oglethorpe and Madison. I want to check back to Athens. As you just saw here, let's zoom in tight. All right, here's Athens. Go to live mode. All right, there's the downtown area. Remember that camera that I just showed you just a few minutes ago in Athens, and we can see that shelf cloud coming in. Now, we don't see that shelf anymore. It's already moved over Athens, but we're seeing some of the rain that is coming down in the Athens area right now. I'm going to do something really cool to show you. I'm going to step out of the shot and go over here, and I'm going to show you the Athens loop. Now, this is going to be an hours-long loop that's going to be broken down to a relatively short amount of time, but this will show us here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and this is going to take us back a few hours, all right? So here we go. This is going to be able to show us here, this loop, just through the afternoon, where North Campus was seeing sunshine and seeing those clouds building in. But as we get toward the end of this loop, I want you to look up here in the clouds, and we can see that system. Okay, we had one bit of rain that came through earlier. That's not the main one that I'm talking about here. And there's another band that came through earlier, just that nature of scattered showers. Look toward the south, though, as the clouds start darkening, all right? This is going to be the system. There's that shelf, all right? Boom, right there, moving over Athens. And that's that leading edge of that heavy rain that is pushing in. And now we'll go back to live. I'll have to step out and put it back to live mode here for you. And a really cool view of that heaviest rain that's moving in to the Athens area right now. This will take just a second here. I'm going to put this back to live mode. It's going to just kind of, there we go. Okay, we're back to live mode right now. Heavy rain coming down in Athens right now, with that accompanied by that shelf cloud that just moved over the downtown area of Athens, with that heavy rain coming in there right now. Additional cameras that we've been watching here. This is our Decatur Tower Cam looking back toward the city of Atlanta. And so we're seeing now, so we're looking westward. So this is actually south. That rain was coming in this way from the south to the north, all right? So that heaviest rain has already pushed up into this direction. So now, even though we have a couple of raindrops still on the lens there in Decatur, things are starting to improve, and still have some light rain in Atlanta and in Decatur and really over a big part of the metro area. But things are starting to improve with the rain lightening up just a little bit, and the visibility is also improving out there as well. So conditions are looking better. Here's another vantage point. So earlier when we showed you this camera, this is from the DeKalb Fulton line there on Arizona Avenue looking westward toward the city. This is from our top of our broadcast tower. When we showed you this camera earlier, there were not only raindrops on the lens, but also this camera was kind of in the clouds. We couldn't really see, we could barely see the skyline. Now things are starting to improve. Again, this is northward this way, where we are seeing that rain that moves up toward the north, and things should be improving here from this vantage point as well. Here is a view right now at Truist Park, where on the north side we are seeing the raindrops coming down. The Braves are not playing tonight. They are traveling. I can't remember who they're playing tomorrow. I looked it up earlier, but they're traveling today. So no game at Truist Park out there for tonight, but you can see those raindrops that are coming down right now at the ballpark. And I think that's all that I have set up for you to see out there right now. Now, another look here at the flood watch. This is in effect until tomorrow evening now. This originally was supposed to expire tonight, and the National Weather Service extended this watch to stay in effect until Tuesday evening due to additional rain that's going to be moving through. Now, as we've been trying to explain for the past few days, is that this is not a cold front moving in. This is not a squall line that you can time out exactly when the rain is going to move through and when it's going to end. We are just stuck in an air mass here that has plenty of moisture. Add some heating or any type of triggering mechanism, and a shower, and a heavy shower can develop just like that. And we've had a good bit of rain that has been coming through over the past few days. So the Weather Service issued this flood watch that they're extending into Tuesday evening. Now, the interesting thing is that they've chosen North and West Georgia, where these counties are shaded in green, as the areas most likely to see flooding or flash flooding. But really, I want everybody to know, even on the east side of 85, anybody can see flooding. And I just showed you that we have a flash flood warning in effect over here in areas of Oglethorpe and Madison County going into Elbert County. They're not even in the flood watch, but bands of heavy rain just moved through there with our Doppler radar estimate showing around 7 inches possible in northern parts of Oglethorpe County, where we see that heavy rain with a flood warning. And they're not in the flood watch. So my whole point is that even though the Weather Service is favoring North and West Georgia because of the highest amounts have been there so far, and any new rain amounts that come in could add on to that. But really, I want all of us to be aware of that potential for flooding to happen here, even on the east side as well. The other thing that we're watching is the severe weather threat for the rest of the nighttime hours tonight. The Storm Prediction Center also has been favoring areas on the south side for that low risk for maybe just a couple of isolated stronger storms. And that's where so far any severe thunderstorms have been so far. We had some of those near and just south and east of Macon earlier. Houston County, Pulaski County had some of those. Lawrence County out I-16 had some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier near the Dublin area. But we really haven't had anything severe north of Macon. Just those pockets of heavy rain and thunder and lightning. So I think that by the time the Storm Prediction Center will update this, most likely between 8:30 and 9 o'clock tonight, they may kind of scale back on that level 1 risk, since things are kind of going to be calming down for the rest of the evening hours. And with that heavy rain that's already moved through, things should start stabilizing here just a little bit more too. Speaking of stabilizing, here's a look at the temperatures. We had a high temperature today that made it up to 80 degrees. With the rain-cooled air that came through Atlanta, we have come down to 71. It's 73 in Athens, 75 in Canton, 75 in Rome, 60s right now up in Blairsville. So that rain-cooled air has not only cooled things off a little bit, going from 80 to 71, but also helping to stabilize it a little bit more too. So that's why I'm not overly concerned about any of these storms really becoming too strong out there for tonight. It's just going to be that main rain risk and lightning risk and some strong winds occasionally with some of those showers as they keep moving up to the north. But we've really seen signs there that these showers and storms are weakening here just a little bit more. So let's go back to radar just to kind of run this down. In the control room and in the digital folks, I'll just go ahead and go through 7:30, and then we can go back to our regular programming here on streaming. If they can hear me in there, I think they can. So that'll be the plan. I can go another 11 minutes here. I've already been talking almost an hour. So just keeping an eye on these showers and storms moving northward. We have these on the west side, still heavy, just south of Rome, into areas of Polk County and Haralson County. Heavy rain. One lightning strike with that just in the past couple of minutes here. But again, that was that area we were watching that was exhibiting some areas of rotation. Let me see if, no new information now coming in from the Weather Service. Looking really quick, no. And then let me look again at the incident reports from DOT. Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. A crash, incident, debris on the roadway. That's in Franklin County. Yeah, okay, I don't see anything really standing out as far as the DOT showing anything happening here concerning. What we watch a lot of times when we see these bands of heavy rain, that's when we can see some lanes that get closed occasionally due to water on the roads, but we're not seeing any evidence of that out there right now. So this on the west side we're watching. Okay, now look at this. On the south side here in Atlanta, that's where we're seeing here the rain, the back edge of that now north of the airport. Now remember, this has been moving in from the south toward the north. So this is the back edge of the rain, just now over Hartsfield-Jackson and moving away. So the rain is tapering off at Hartsfield right now. It was heavy earlier. That's what prompted the ground stop. We had thunderstorm activity, thunder and lightning. The ground stop is no longer in effect, but we have ground delays of about 45 minutes at Hartsfield. So it's going to take a while, even as the rain ends. The delays won't end immediately. It's going to be a little bit of a backlog that'll take them still a while to get that, as the rain moves away, to get kind of caught up there with the backlog again of those delays. Still, this is that main area that we're keeping an eye on. Let's put this into motion. This is the last 2 hours. Really heavy rain as it was moving south and along I-20. Now as it moves northward, we're watching the lightning count come down. Also, the intensity of the rain is coming down a little bit too. Still, heavy rain over Athens. It's just not as intense and not as large of an area of intense heavy rain as what we had here just a little bit earlier. And then there again, that green that you see right there, flash flood warning in effect for Oglethorpe County and that little part of Madison County right there as this rain continues moving up toward the north. Very heavy at times. And we had a couple of Doppler radar estimates in parts of Oglethorpe County of, again, Doppler radar estimates around 7 inches of rain falling in that area. And that's what's prompting that warning that we're seeing there. So things are going to be improving a little bit. Just watching this rain move northward through Athens. Get ready, though, as this, again, this is not as heavy as it was. You see this? Watch that band as it moved over I-20. A lot of red and orange in it. Moving through Loganville with heavy rain. And then as this moves a little bit more to the north here, right in North Gwinnett at the 985 and 85 split into Barrow County, we have some thunder and lightning with it, but we're just watching the red and orange color within that, which is indicating the really heavier rain with it. It's starting to kind of shrink up a little bit, not quite as heavy as it was, but still, you'll have some heavy rain in Jackson County, moving up into Jefferson and also into Commerce along 85 there. We've got the heavy rain in Athens. That's pushing up northward into those areas north of Athens into Madison County. That'll be into Franklin County. Elbert County's getting heavy rain. Hart County, up near Lake Hartwell. Folks at the lake there, hopefully you're off the lake because the rain is moving in over the lake there. You'll have a little bit of lightning coming in just a bit too. Continuing to move toward the north through those areas on the north side. And then again, these showers up north of Cherokee County into Pickens County near Jasper. Some of that moving into Dawson County and eventually into Lumpkin County coming up here in just a little bit too. But not as heavy as it was a little bit earlier. So things beginning to look a little bit better, especially here on the south side, all right? Weather Service is saying, watching another broad area of rotation here in Polk County and Floyd County, right there on the line. They're issuing a special statement saying 40-mile-an-hour winds and frequent cloud-to-ground lightning moving northeast at 15 miles an hour. And then they're adding in to that special statement just another broadly rotating cell working into southwest Floyd and northwestern Polk County. Let me look at velocity here. Southwest Floyd and northwest. So they're talking about this part right here that's moving. This is northwestern Polk, southwest Floyd. So they're talking about this area of green and red that they're keeping an eye on. Just again, another broadly rotating area cell moving into those areas right now. Again, just keeping an eye on that as it moves maybe across the Alabama line into parts of Floyd County here and into Polk County too. We'll watch that as it keeps moving in. Doesn't look too threatening right now. The key word there is broadly rotating. If it was a tight rotating cell, then the National Weather Service would issue a tornado warning out of that. But it's just broadly rotating right now with that cell that's just about to cross over the Alabama line, pretty much right there at 411, where we would see that potential broad rotation happening there right now too. All right, it's 7:25. We're extending this until 7:30. And then we'll go back to our regular programming on streaming here. But just know that while we go away, I'm going to keep watching these cells. We'll break in with any new information that comes in as needed. But we like the signs that we're seeing, except for watching that little cell there on the Alabama line. We like the trends that we're seeing here with this. I'm going to widen out a little bit more. That the heaviest rain that's been on the east side is still heavy, but not as heavy as it was. The lightning count is coming down. We still have some lightning, just not as much as we did. We're just seeing an overall weakening trend with all of this that's over on the east side as it moves up toward the north. Things are starting to improve. That rain has just moved out of Hartsfield. We'll see that rain lifting north of Atlanta. We'll begin to see some improvements and have a little bit of time to dry out, but then we'll just have to keep an eye on this on the west side. South of Rome, there's some lightning, heavy rain coming in there, and then this is that one that we were talking about with some lightning firing up there with that broadly rotating cell. And then that's going to keep pushing up toward the north, and things will start to dry out a little bit for a big part of the metro area, really for the rest of the evening hours to give us a bit of a break. And then for the next few days, we're still going to watch some of those scattered showers and some of those thunderstorms that will be scattered around, continuing to move through our area. So in overall, things trending a little bit better for us for the rest of the evening hours with that general weakening trend that is happening out there right now too. But again, stressing for you now, watching this flood watch. That is for really, I want all of us to be aware of the potential for flooding, but the specific flood watch, these counties shaded in green, roughly along 85 corridor, north and west of that. Those are the areas a little more likely that we could see some flooding taking place. That's been extended through Tuesday evening now. Also watching a severe weather threat. This is going to be updated pretty soon from the Storm Prediction Center, showing the better chance for any severe weather that would be on the south side. Here is the forecast track where you can see that's where that heaviest rain is going now, north of the city and north of I-20, over toward Athens, Oglethorpe County and Madison County. Through the evening, look how that goes to the north. Things are going to be improving for the evening hours. Getting into tomorrow morning, a cloudy start. It'll be muggy, maybe a couple of light showers there on the north side. And then by lunchtime, some additional showers are going to be redeveloping here. And through the afternoon, scattered showers once again with pockets of moderate to also heavy rain moving through. And then Wednesday morning, cloudy skies to start. Fewer showers, we think, on Wednesday, with the rain chance going down to 40%. And then on Thursday, we're thinking we'll have about a 30% chance for showers. Still, some rain around. That rain chance doesn't totally go away, but at least we see some showers moving in. I want to make sure our digital team is okay if I end here at 7:30. Are y'all good if I end at 7:30? End at 7:30? Good deal. So that's what the plan is. But just know that when I go off, I'm still going to be keeping an eye on these showers and storms that are out there. We'll come back on if needed here at any time. So about a minute and a half left. I just want to show you again these areas over North Georgia and the metro Atlanta area where we see this rain that is moving through. And The trend is that this is weakening as it moves up toward the north. We just have to watch a couple of areas here. Flood warning for Oglethorpe and Madison County, where some really heavy rain moved through there. You know what? Let me show you Athens one more time. I told you I was going to do that a moment ago. Let me show you Athens here one more time as we had that. Okay, still some heavy rain coming in through Athens right now, but nothing too crazy in Athens at this hour. And then also over the city right now, we do continue to see these scattered showers that continue to move on through. And then last look here at this radar loop as this all continues to move in. We'll keep an eye on this over on the west side here. Those heavier showers with some thunder and lightning into parts of Haralson and Polk County. This one moving into Floyd County and northern parts of Polk County as well. And then additional rain up toward the north. Weakening, so that's a good sign. And then drying out a little bit more during the evening hours once we can get all this to push up toward the north. So thanks for watching this extended weather update here on the 11 Alive app on your TV and on your phone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. I'll keep an eye on all these showers and storms. We'll break back in if needed coming up this evening.